Hello everybody, Dr. Feelgood here from the Elthravad build team. Welcome back, and this is the first video in a very long line, hopefully to come, of kind of little tips and tricks slash tutorial videos that we will be making for you guys. In this video, we will be specifically focusing on depth and detail in walls. So you start off with a wall. It's very nice. It'll keep out the bad guys, as you can tell from the height of it. But it's not very interesting. It kind of blends in with the surroundings, and it just doesn't really stand out that much. So you want to do something to change that a little bit. So the first thing you do is try to introduce a couple more blocks into the equation. So you have something like this, and I still can't remember the name of those red blocks, so I will just call them red blocks. But you have those on the outside as kind of a border, which give definition to the wall, a definite start and finish to where the detail is in the middle. You also decide to take the kind of background of the wall, push it back so the detail rests on top of it, which gives it a little bit of depth, and it makes things a little bit more interesting because that depth helps the detail stand out a little bit more. So you throw in a couple different types of slabs and a little bit of clay, and things are starting to look pretty nice, but you're still not quite happy with that. So you decide to take that wall and push it back even further, so you now have 3 different layers of depth, which is kind of, from what we have seen, the typical number that people like to go for when they have walls that are kind of like this, because it allows for lots of potential for the different kinds of detail that you can do. And as you can tell, at the top and the bottom of the wall, there's a little bit more stabilization, which comes from when you push that wall back a little bit, and it just makes it look a lot more sturdy compared to just having a wall that is straight up and down. Also breaks up the monotony of flat lines, because who likes that? In Minecraft you see a lot of lines and boxes, so you want to break things up a little bit. So you take that design and you push it one step further, so you can see that there's almost a little bit of a concave look to the wall now, because you have the cyan blocks at the bottom, you have 3 of the red blocks, then you take that and you step it back 1, and then it comes back out at you. So that gives it an ultimate feeling of depth when you do have that concave feel to the wall. And then you just kind of go to town with the amount of detail that you can do, because the potential with this is really quite endless. But and you also put some cyan clay in the back there just to finish things off. But that's that, and we will show more examples in a minute.
Hey guys, this is Slice. I'll be showing you 4 different examples of depth being involved in building. And so I'll start out with this medieval house, and as you can see here, it's very flat and boring. It's not very interesting to look at, and that is because there is no depth. So in this next segment, you'll kind of watch me go and rework it, and I'll do the same thing for the rest of the plots. So I'll go ahead and clip out here, and you guys can see me do that. Okay, so as you can see here, I've finished, and I think I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. This is usually what I kind of get when I do a very classic medieval build. But I did add in a few blocks by hand like these, but nothing crazy. Um, Nothing that you really missed. But as you can see, I've pushed in the walls, about a block each, and that's really all I did for the depth. There's not a whole lot you have to do for that, and I've also added detail in afterwards, and not only does the detail make it look nice and give it its own unique style, but it also adds even more depth. And so even for the roof, I've added these support beams, and these also add depth to the roof and make it a lot less boring. So that's it for that. Um, for the next one, I'm going to do some terrain and show how you can use depth with terrain. So that'll be really interesting. So I'll go ahead and show you that. Alright, so for this I just made it really quick and simple and used Voxel Sniper. I'm too lazy to do it all by hand when I have Voxel Sniper at my disposal. So I just use that just for speedy purposes. But as you can see here, here's just a little mound, nothing special. Um, and with this one, I just want to kind of show depth and terrain and how you can make maps that you do a little more interesting than just having, a big circle of terrain with, mountaintops on them, and that's it. Um, so on this next little clip, I'll kind of show you how to add depth to your terrain. Alright guys, so here's the finished product of the terrain. As you can see here, I've added a little nook or cave entrance, if you would like to call it, and it kind of shows like an inverted way of depth. Nothing crazy. I wouldn't suggest adding, cave entrances everywhere, but that's just a little example. The main example is within this area here. If you look at it from this angle, you can kind of see how there's your foreground, and then over here you can kind of see your middle ground or background, and that's kind of what you're going to want to go for. If you're doing a map or something, and the player's looking at it from like an angle like this, it looks 2D and it's not really that special looking. So really make sure you have a foreground, a middle ground, and a background, or just a foreground and a background. So with that, I will start on this. For this example, I want to kind of help you guys understand depth of field. It's a very simple and important concept that you should all know. And so, as you can see here, I have 3 prisms set up, and they're just kind of in a straight line. It's kind of flat and boring. It's just not really that fun to look at. It's not very interesting. If you look over here, I have the cubes kind of set up in a more interesting way. You have your foreground, your middle ground, and your background. And you can use these interchangeably, as you can see right here. And they just add, more of a dynamic appeal to whatever it is. And it's just a lot more interesting to look at than a flat wall. And if you come over here, you can kind of see where it's incorporated. You have your foreground, your middle ground, and your background. You have your foreground and your background. And if you really want to look at it in other weird ways, if you look at these plots, you have your foreground, and that plot would be your middle ground, or that plot could be your middle ground, and those 3 plots all over there could be your background. You don't have to have a foreground, middle ground, and background. You could have a foreground and a background, or you could have 50 different layers. Minecraft is obviously a 3D game, so you'll always have depth, but it's just kind of a concept that you can kind of see. It's almost like music theory. So, it's just another tool belt or a tool on your tool belt. So I think that's really it for that one. I'll kind of move on to this next little example here and then finish it off. Alright, so as you can see here, I've copied a Minecraft book. You are probably wondering why I've done that. Well, I'd like to show you how you can take pixel art and make it more 3D and less flat. I never ever suggest anyone do pixel art. If I see it on the server, you will never be ranked up, ever. I despise it. It does not show skill.
As you can see here, unfortunately, Slice has gone off the handle, and I'll try to calm him down a little bit, but he really hates pixel art. So once he's better, I will turn it back over to him, and then he'll tell you the real reason that he made this book.
So rather than doing pixel art, you can use your newfound knowledge of depth to correct your mistake you. Alright, so as you can see here, I've made one of the most half-assed books in the world. It looks absolutely terrible, and I'm dying on the inside. I do not know why I made a book this bad. I will definitely redo a book and make a new book in the future and incorporate it in a build of mine just to prove that I can build a book. This is embarrassing, but other than that, it still shows the concept of depth, and that's what I really want to get at. If you look at the different pages, you can see where there's a lot of different, foregrounds and backgrounds within each layer. Even when you look at the book from the side, you can see that this is your foreground, obviously, and your background is the spine of the book. If you look at it from this angle, you can see that the spine of the book is now my foreground, and the back of the book is your background. And if you look at it from this side, you can see that some of the pages are indented, and some of them are not. So hopefully that's another example to help you understand depth. And one quick little thing here, Doctor mentioned earlier about kind of looking at these blocks from this way. This yellow one here in the foreground looks really big compared to that green one in the background, but in reality they're just the same size, and you can kind of watch as they come closer and closer. The red one now becomes the center of focus, and then the green one becomes the center of focus. But so hopefully that's a good. Hopefully you'll kind of better understand what depth is, and from that we will conclude this video. We definitely look forward to doing more tutorials in the future, from concepts to techniques, and maybe we'll even do a few of those, kind of videos where we just build a house and you can watch us kind of build that house and even copy it if you want, just to kind of understand some concepts without us even talking about them. So with that, we will see you guys later, and I will kind of hand the last bit over to Doctor.
Yes, I will. I am always the one to close things. So I will hop back out of Slice. I've been traveling around inside of him all day. Hee hee. No. Anyways, so yeah, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed our very first concept slash tutorial video. Like Slice mentioned, there will be many, many more to come in the future. And in order to stay updated with that, it would probably be wise of you to hit that nice red subscribe button, or whatever color it is for you. Um, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like on it, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Whoop whoop.